Thank Malphus. I was starting to think I was the only one. How are you? You look exhausted. Of course, sorry. That remark was a little redundant. But it's good to see the Grandmaster was right after all. I woke up just a few hours earlier, and he was here in the meantime. He didn't doubt for a single second that you would make it. But I suppose mutual congratulations are in order. We made it. We passed the trial. Almost, yes. All that is left to do is to take the oath, and then Grandmaster Aranthiel will exalt us to the keepers of the first sigil. Speaking of whom, he also told me some things while you were asleep. About the Pyreans, about these dreams, and of course, about this cycle. This is so bizarre, really. At first we're told out of nowhere that the gods have died, and now humanity is on the brink of extinction. This is a lot to take in. Hard to say. I never had those dreams the Grandmaster talked about, even though I'm magically gifted. But then again, I always had the feeling that the Red Madness was more than an ordinary disease. Well, I suppose all of this explains a lot. At least now I can understand why the Grandmaster was willing to break all the traditions of the Order just to get you exalted to be a keeper. According to him, most of our battle against the cycle will stand or fall with you. Well, as I said, we both have to take the Holy Oath. You should talk to the Grandmaster as soon as you're ready. He's waiting for you in the Emporium. Right. Dunwar. The apothecary examined him about an hour ago, and it doesn't look good. It's likely that he'll never wake up again. No, in spite of everything. You know, Dunwar was one of those people who tried to gild their insecurity with boastful behavior. The reality is that he was the last of his bloodline, and his faith in the path and his destiny as a keeper were all that he had left. And who knows, maybe he would have been a great help to the Order with the right guidance. But I guess Master Bartar's revelation was just too much for him. It's hard to be told that everything you've lived for was a lie. Well, maybe I just don't show it as much. But yes, in a way, you're probably right. I suppose that's mainly due to the fact that to me, as opposed to Dunwar, the Order always stood for an idea. And an idea doesn't die with the one who first thought of it. Funny that the Grandmaster said nearly the same thing during the exaltation. Dunwar would have considered it blasphemy. I knew the question would come eventually. I suppose the answer depends on whether you're in the mood for some gloomy talk. Sooner or later you'll hear it from someone else anyway, so why not from me first? As you wish. Where should I start? Maybe with the fact that I don't remember anything that happened before my 6th winter. I don't know where I was born, and I never got to know my parents. I wish I knew. What I do know, though, is that the first memory I have is of waking up in the middle of some village. It was dark, and I felt dizzy and, I don't know, empty? That's probably the best way to describe it. I eventually found the strength to get up and look around, and, well, that's when I realized what was actually going on around me. The entire village. It had been destroyed. There were corpses everywhere. Men, women, children, and the houses had been crushed as if some mad god had rampaged through the streets there. And it had all just happened hours before because the destruction was still fresh. Whatever it was, I didn't have much time to think about it. As soon as I got up, I saw 3 riders coming through the smoke. One of them got off his horse, ran towards one of the corpses and started screaming something in my direction. Then I felt a blow on the back of my head and I lost consciousness. By the name of the sun, it's strange to talk about it like this. It's been so long, but the memory feels as if it had happened yesterday. It's okay. Anyway, it turned out that the riders were men from the village who had gone hunting. They must have observed the whatever it was from the distance and ridden back to the village. At least I think that's how it went. I guess I'll never find out. The reason they thought I was somehow involved is that the village priest found me a couple of days before it happened near a shrine in the wilderness. Apparently, I was wearing torn clothing, and no matter what the apothecary tried, he couldn't wake me up from my comatose sleep. And it seems that made the writers think I was some kind of witch child, or unholy beast, whichever you prefer. For you, maybe. For them, as simple people, it was probably the best explanation they had. And think about it, it's not that far off. A motherless child who neither talks nor breathes steadily is found abandoned on the roadside and has a strange mark on her face. They leave to go hunting, and when they come back, they find their village in ruins with that foundling child being the only survivor. You have to admit, it's not that much of a stretch, even if those men hadn't been superstitious farmers. Probably. Truth be told, I try not to think about it too much. And actually, it doesn't matter, because I somehow managed to get away before they could do anything. I even made it to Ark all by myself, which didn't turn out to be much of an improvement in the end because I was pathless. Yes. Thinking about it now, I actually wonder how I made it through my time down there. But maybe that's one of the advantages of being a child. You don't think. You just act. Still, the winters down there were cruel, and if Master Tyrus hadn't found and taken care of me, I probably wouldn't have made it through my second year. Yes, otherwise I would not be here. He saw me, and he knew what he had to do, is how he put it. Of course, the Order wasn't too happy about a pathless child in the Scuola, just as some aren't happy about you being here. But Tyrus was a highly regarded man, and that's why they let it slide. Yes, and now I'm here. Well, here we've reached the end of my impressive tale. I hope you liked it. No, I guess I'm not. He does, yes, and he's not alone in his opinion. One of those hunters recognized me in the market my first year as a novice, and you can imagine that it was easy pickings for those who were already against my presence in the Order. From then on, they added names to the derogatory stares. Demon Child, Witch, whatever they could come up with. Yes, maybe. You know what's funny? To some extent, I'm glad to be who I am. That way, people just leave me alone, and that gives me more time to focus on what's important, on my goals. Several, but I'd say that's enough of the gloomy stories, don't you think? There will be plenty of time for chatter in the future. Maybe. Yes, all of the Dalmordans fell victim to the great flesh maggot plague of 8215. Actually, it was almost sad to see him running around and boasting about his nobility, though everyone knew that without the help of the Order, he would have probably ended up living in a shack in the Undercity. if you can call that living. You should. It's already late, but if you want, I can show you the most important places in the temple before you go to the Emporium. What do you think? Good. Then get your gear from the chest by your bed and we'll go. You should reclaim your gear before we leave. Now then, let's go.
Yeah, as if. Move along.
Pathlessness, wherever you look. Where is this supposed to lead?
Yes.
All right, this is the sanctum. It's a place of silence and prayer, and also where we'll be exalted later.
Thou art my light, my glimmer and the horizon. Thy name is my sacrament, and thy path my way. No, in life, as in death.
Walk blessed.
You just wait and see. Fucking sissy.
Yeah, as if.
Okay, I think you've seen this place before. We call this part of the temple the Chronicum, and in here is gathered the knowledge of the Order, written down in books and parchments. Plus, all of the experiments and research on artifacts and magic is done here. So it's a place you'll probably see often in the near future. Ah, and just below the Chronicum is the temple smithy. You should go there if you need equipment. Over there, that's the scuola and the quarters, where both the keepers and the novices live. There's also a training room where everything from swordplay to marksmanship can be trained and taught. You will find some skilled teachers there. Well, I think that's about it. You've already been to the Emporium, and I assume to the Eye of the Gods as well. I suggest you speak to the Grand Master as soon as you're ready to take the oath.
Walk blessed. Did you hear the new orders from the Grand Master?
Prepare myself, probably.
I'm not
Now
sure.
walk blessed.
Which
I will
ones
see you soon.
exactly are you talking about?
He wants to double the patrols on the Penny Road. He wants one keeper to accompany each patrol.
A keeper on patrol? That seems inappropriate if you ask me.
The Grand Master thinks it's the right thing to do.
And why?
Well, there was this farmer just recently who reported strange figures near his farm.
That's very specific. A distrustful person might now believe he is simply looking for a cheap way to protect his cattle from wolves.
As I said, the Grand Master thinks it's specific enough. Sigil bearer Bartar called in conclave. We will decide who takes on which patrols there.
By Marcus, strange times we are in.
Walk blessed.
Huh?
Walk blessed, my sir.
Huh?
Watch yourself. The streets aren't safe this time of the day.
We always go too easy on the scum.
What?
Keep walking.
Watch yourself. The streets aren't safe this time of the day.
And you actually believe this could work? It sounds absurd.
I don't believe I know. The mercenary, he might not be the shining knight of Castle Starsound, but he's better than most of your men. I want him, and you will need to convince your Truchessa of it.
Is that so? Very well, I will convince her. You will hear from me.
I hope so.
Prophet, good to see you. How do you feel? You've never been in any danger. If I had doubted your abilities, even to the slightest, I would have never spoken out for you. In any case, all that is left to do now is to recite the oath. Then we will finally deal with the more urgent matters. None of it, you'll see. The ceremony needs a little preparation, 1 day at least. Come back then. Even if it hurts to lose more time, the cleansing approaches, I can feel it. Just this night I had another of the dreams. People I knew, including you. But these people weren't themselves. There was something else, and it spoke through them. They mocked us and said our struggle against the cycle was pointless. It was peculiar. I believe that these beings are connected to the cycle. They must be the ones who cause it. None. Maybe they are demons or magical entities of some kind. But they are different from everything I know. In any case, if they are indeed responsible for the cycle, they are our enemies. That's what matters for now. Come back tomorrow for the ceremony. Yes. Why do you ask?
Transcribe verse 80 100 times. The sky can rain fire.
They did. What are you getting at? A fair point. But in the future, just be upfront. I do not like such veiled remarks. So, yes, my time in the prison was harsh. The hunger, the degradation, to name the most obvious. The worst, however, was the isolation. Ironically enough, that was the last thing I had expected, you know. From all the suffering there is, it seems so banal. But it isn't. You either find ways to cope with it, or it breaks you. Fortunately, I managed to do the former. For me, it was memories of the time before my incarceration, the prospect of what would come after it. They were my window into the outer world, so to speak. They reminded me that I was more than this deprived creature I had become in those dungeons. Strange. Everything seemed too bright, too unreal. I especially felt that in the cloister with Narazul's mages. I had difficulty talking to other people, and whenever I did, it felt as if the others were like wax figures. Like some cruel joke put in front of my eyes in order to mock me. Better. Our mission, my responsibility here as a leader, it has helped me to find my way back into the real world. What would have been the alternative? A life as a fisherman? If the things I had to live through taught me one thing, then it was how important it is for me to be right here, right now, doing what I do. In fact, this is precisely what is missing in the world. People who do not let the whims of fate break their resolve. Now, enough of this. We have business to attend to. Yes? That depends on whom you ask. In some writings of the Pyreans, we are referred to as chosen ones, but this is wrong. A better word would be chess figures with their own will. Whatever force causes the cycle also gave us powers and a task, but fulfilling that task is our own responsibility. Well, that is something else we only know in broad strokes. It is my task to lead mankind in its battle against the cleansing, to rally our strengths, so to speak. Yours is to read the echo and help us gain the knowledge we need for victory. How exactly you're going to do that is something we still have to find out. I do not know, but there are hints. We will see. Good question. In their writing, the Pyreans say it has existed for aeons. Since this world exists, since the sea of eventualities exists, so too then does the cycle. It seems to be a part of existence, so to speak. The Pyreans didn't, and neither did the dozen civilizations that came before them. That is what we know. But as for what happened before that, our knowledge about the past is limited. All that matters for now is that the cycle threatens us, and that we have to stop it. That depends on whom. A better word would be chess figures with their own will. What? No. As I said before, my knowledge about that is limited. But if it helps you, imagine that it is a way of perceiving that which connects us all, our subconscious. Yes. You know, most people perceive themselves as an entity separate from the rest of the world. And while this is partially true, there is something that connects us. dark corners of our mind, bridges to which we in a conscious state do not have access to. But you do not need to be supernaturally gifted to feel that these bridges exist. I am sure you have experienced it yourself at one time or another. A moment where you knew exactly what another person thought or would do next. People with close blood ties can especially feel that connection. Children and their mothers, siblings, and especially twins. Correct. And while most people hardly feel this connection at all, as if looking through a tinted window, to you it is wide open during your visions. Their bodies might be, but the traces they left behind still remain. Everything that was, everything that is, and everything that will be, it already exists in the sea of eventualities. This is the basic principle of magic. And time is not a straight line. Only the barriers of our mind make us perceive it as such. Visions, premonitions, dreams that become reality. These are all leftovers of waves from other eventualities that spill over into our reality. There have always been people able to read them, but none so good at it as you are, thanks to the echo.
Pathlessness, wherever you look. Where is this supposed to lead? Let's hope he knows what he's doing.
Light fades away at the end of the day. Ta-dum-dum.
Who are you?
This is holy ground, Outlander. This is holy ground, Outlander. You do not belong here.
My sir! Wait a moment! Phew! There you are. Here, a letter for you. What? Oh, that's very generous of you. Thank you. Safe travels, and may his light guide you. Transcribe verse 80 100 times. The sky can rain fire. Magisters never change.
Well met.
The light fades away at the end of the day. The sun slowly sinks in its nocturnal grave.
Yes.
You're leaving our world, rising up high to the paths eternal. To the stars in the sky, and we stay behind, alone in the dark. Our lives will be lacking the glow of your spark. This is where your path ends and where it begins. In the golden twilight, the release.
That's beyond me. Huh? Walk blessed.
Yes, it makes sense.
Thou art my light, my glimmer at the horizon. Thy name is my sacrament, and thy path I will honor, in life as in death.
Under the city, deep in the caves, he waits for us, the Black Guardian. No one who ever caught sight of him lived to tell about it. If the holy verses are spoken and you giggle and caper around, he'll soon wipe the smile right off your face, 'cause he ambushes you when you least expect. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the Black Guardian. If we stray from our path, if we lose our way, he drags us down to the endless below. If you search in tombs for pathless writings and treasures, the earth opens up under your feet, and you'll find no gold but eternal grief. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the Black Guardian. If we stray from our path, if we lose our way, he drags us down to the endless void below. If you are 3 sheets to the wind, and you stagger through the alleys of our a manhole cover will open life will be gone. Down in the deep, down in the dark, he waits for us, the Black Guardian. If we stray from our path, if we lose our way, he drags us down to the endless void below. Late in the night when the pale moon shines over the roofs of Ark, you'll hear a screaming from deep below, a terrible spine-chilling cry.
That's beyond me.
Down in the dark, he waits for us, the Black Guardian. If we stray from our
Thou art my light,
if we lose
my glimmer at the
he
horizon.
drags
Thy
us
name is my
down to
sacrament,
the
and thy path I will honor, in life as in death.
Shivering hands and delirious eyes, brittle voices and maniac minds, they roam across the land, spreading terror and dismay. Walls of fire and arrows of ice, before you blink they have slaughtered you twice. Death is their companion, and doom is their light. Mount Fass's light has never shone on their face. The anarchist fever has clouded their troubled brains. Mages wild and free, wicked wayward wizards, if they're pointing their devious fingers at you, you'll soon be crazy too. In ruins and caverns they hide away, avoiding the sunlight, the brightness of day, uttering curses and hexes into the night. You never know what's beneath their disguise, their masters of fear, illusion and lies. You won't have a chance to say your final prayer. Mount Fass's light has never shone on their face. The anarchist fever has clouded their troubled brains. Mages wild and free, wicked wayward wizards, if they're pointing their devious fingers at you, you'll soon be crazy too. If the magical fire flares up in your head, and your spirit is filled with frenzy and dread, don't wait or soon, all help will be in vain. The journey to the water you must take, or else the fever will deform your shape. A monster you will be, the frightful blue death. Mount Fass's light has never shone on their face. The anarchist fever has clouded their troubled brains. Mages wild and free, wicked wayward wizards, if they're pointing their devious fingers at you, you'll soon be crazy too. Beautiful and proud, the ruler the Undercity. Vatira was her name. She was feared and
At the horizon,
beggars, thieves, and
thy name is my
murderers were
sacrament,
falling at her
and thy
feet.
path I
As
will honor.
mistress of the castaways, she was worshipped and revered. Vintage wine and silken cloth, jewelry and tongue of gods, any loot and contraband were passing through her hands. Bright Satan, robbery, no means to fight nor conquer her. The art of crime she mastered like no one ever had. Beautiful and proud, the ruler of the Undercity. When the night closed in, she stayed sleepless until dawn. Men ate her beasts, they visited her chamber. Anyone who quaffed and knew no shame could join her feasts. Her heart was empty, cold and
Well met.
This is holy ground, Outlander. You don't belong here.
This is holy ground, Outlander. You do not belong here.
This just doesn't make sense. Times. The sky. I just doesn't change.
Who are you?
Walk blessed.
Who are you?
Huh?
Walk blessed.
You heard it. Apparently, the Blue Islands Coalition sent an emissary to Enderal, despite the wars. They are bold. You've got to give them that.
That's beyond me.
This just doesn't make sense.
Yes, it makes sense.
Thou art my light.
Places the swords. I have to remember that. I haven't seen your face before. Huh. Do you now? Well, if the keepers let you run around in here, I suppose you have business with the Order. So I guess there's no harm in trading with you. But don't think it will cost you any less than somewhere else. Huh. Do you now? Well, if the keepers let you run around in here, I suppose you have business with the Order. So I guess there's no harm in trading with you. But don't think it will cost you any less than somewhere else. Walk blessed.
Well, that's just how he is. Always talking rot.
There must be a solution to this.
Greetings. You don't. Well then, I am Taurius Flameling, apothecarius by my path. My companion and I work together with the Arcanists here, and we investigate the Red Madness. How may I help you? Aside from the obvious, not much unfortunately. The most important thing to know is that it's extremely hard to determine if someone is infected with it. Afflicted people show their open madness quite late, and at that point, it's usually too late already. Walk blessed. With all due respect to your thirst for knowledge, I am not a magister, and I've got my hands full. In a nutshell, we are healers, and our path is to cure ailments with magic and alchemy. Our monastery is far to the north, in the Frostcliff Mountains. However, you won't be able to reach it at the moment due to the heavy snowfall. And in case that doesn't sate your appetite, there are a couple of books about us in the library, or maybe even the Chronicum. Finn and Carbos, of course. Who doesn't know them? An odd duo and completely inseparable. Why do you ask? What? How? How do you know that? My Malthus, that's... One tragic event after another. Now listen. This question might seem peculiar, but is there any chance you found amulets on them? The emblems of the apothecary. It's a ritual. Whenever one of our members passes away, their amulet will be put in Soldran's halls, as remembrance, so to speak. They are silver with a violet jewel. Have you found them? Damn it. We can't even pay them their last respects. Well, thank you for the message anyway, even if it's a grim one. I'll send a pigeon with the news to the League as soon as possible. That's what I'm here for. Take a look. Walk blessed.
Let's hope he knows what he's doing.
Hear my words, O path-abiding people of this holy city. Many of you may have heard it already. There's war in Kira.
It's not as if I didn't show them that already. They just sit on their asses.
If it's clam and fish you seek,
You're not from these, are you? I heard you talk.
By that, they have not only defiled the grandeur of the merciful Golden Queen herself, but also that of the Lightborn Saldron, keeper of the writings, the eternal timeless. Even though the guards of Al-Rashid the minds of those without virtue.
only the best and fresh from the Red Sea. Rena Shalom, my sir. Are you looking for fresh fish?
Fruits, vegetables.
Looking for steel? I can provide. Everything for the path-abiding soldier. Come again.